Okay, so my final renders have been produced, and I've produced this depth map here, this a clown pass, and the final image. So what we're going to do now is open this up in Photoshop and have a look at it and just refine it a little bit. Okay, so here's our image. As you can see, because I exported it as a Photoshop file, PSD, you could export it as a PNG file, then it would still hold an alpha, but do make sure that you check the alpha when you use the export on it. Okay, so we've got this one. So what I want to do now is I want to open the other one. So I want to open this one here, and we're just going to press Control A to select all. Control A, sorry, that's select all up there. And then we want to copy it, so we would use Control C. So I'm going to copy that, jump back into here and then paste it, Control V, and that will paste it over position. Now I can just basically turn this one off. So if I go into my layers now on here, you'll see it. There we go, we've got two. So we've got one over the top of the other. Okay. And now you'll see that this clown pass has got all of the parts separated into each of the material types. So it makes this really easy with a magic wand to just go and select those parts really easily. So that's cool. So what we can do now is we can just go down here and just relabel this. I've just double clicked it and I'm just going to call it Geo. And then here I'm going to create a new layer, okay, which I'm going to drop just a kind of grey colour into. So I'm going to drop that in there. Oh, need to deselect because I've got a selection there. And that will cover. Now I can drag this layer with the left mouse button underneath. And so we've got a nice background. You can use any background. We could even use a gradient if we wanted to. Come down here and we'll just click the gradient tab there, and I'm just going to change this to a grey going to a white. Click OK, and now I'm going to drag down from top to bottom, and you'll see that you've got darker up the top and lighter down the bottom, so it just looks a little bit cooler. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're just going to add a little bit of a glow around these areas here. Now you will notice on the clown pass, if we look at this area here, this big strip, on the clown pass it only shows the outer area, and this is the problem with these clown passes, is it won't show different colours within different pieces of geometry, because remember that light source is inside the gel on the outside there, the glass on the outside, and the same for this little light down here. So, but we can add some effects anyway. You could always manually go around it. So we've got our little light down there. What we can do is we can create a new layer. Let's just do that now. And turn the clown pass on. Use the magic wand. I'm just going to click in here. Sorry, I need to select that layer. Click in there. And I'm going to hold the shift key and click in here. So I've selected two of these. Now inside this layer, I'm just going to drop probably a blue in there, something like that. And I'm going to use the magic wand here and the paint bucket. I'm just going to drop those in there. Okay, so they're on the side. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit because it makes it a bit easier to see, and I'm actually going to turn the fill off, so there's no fill. You see that? I'm turning the fill off there. So now I'm going to go into layer and layer style, and I'm just going to go to outer glow, and you'll see that there appears now a little outer glow going around it. Now I'm going to select a blue, probably going to sample a little bit of blue from this or from this, and save that, and just go to the blend mode as normal. Now I can sort of like just put a little bit of a glow going around it there. It just gives it that little bit of an extra effect. So if I zoom out now, you've got this kind of little glow going on. Yeah, but the problem I've got is that glow on this piece is not right in the middle. So what I can do is I can actually select from the geo like this, which is quite good. Now if I go into here, I want to delete this outside, because remember, if I turn the fill up here, you'll see it's outside, but I want to delete that outside area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this lasso tool because I don't want to affect this piece. So if I did an invert and I basically cut this piece out, then I would also be cutting this piece out. So I want to add this to the selection. So to make it a bit easier to see initially, I'm going to turn the fill up, and then with this selected in here, I'm going to hold the shift key and I'm just going to go around this piece. And now that's part of the selection. Now I can inverse the selection, and again it will be easier if I zoom out. You'll see that there's no marching ants around here, as I call them. So I want to go into select and I want to go inverse. Now you've got marching ants around here, and it means it will select anything outside of this area. So I'm just going to hit the delete now, the backspace, and I'm going to deselect. So I'm going to go deselect. And now we've got the glow, once I turn this fill down, actually coming out from the edge as opposed to being around the edge, if that makes sense. Yeah, just because, let me turn all this off and you can see, I can just bring the fill back. Just because if I turn this glow effect off, I've cut that bit out there. Yeah, so I didn't use this because I couldn't, because it didn't give me the inside geometry, but I could actually sample it straight from the geometry itself. Let's turn that glow back on. You can see the effect, and if you want to tweak it any time, you can come in here and you can change it, you can extend it or pull it back. You could change the color if you wanted the color a little bit more, maybe a little bit more greenish or something. Yeah, you could go in there and just change that a little bit. And of course I'll take this fill down as well because we only need the outside piece. So now, just spending a couple of minutes there, we've created this good glow effect going on. Right, so what else can we do with this clown pass? Well, we could select these headphones here. We go into the clown layer, and I could hold the shift key and just select this little piece here. We could then come into the geo, we could duplicate this layer like this. Now I can use the invert, so I can go select invert and I can delete, and you watch what happens. You'll delete everything but this area. So Control D to deselect, turn this on, and now it means I've isolated this area on top of this area. I can go in and I could make some slight adjustments. So I could go into hue and saturation, and maybe I could change this hue and this saturation to a slightly different color, something like that. I can increase the saturation on that, so I match it more into this blue that's going on. And we've made some modifications there, like you can see. Could also go in and make some big modifications, like change the levels. So you can make it a bit brighter as well if you wanted to, and notice it's affecting that piece as well. You see? So by using this little pass, you can go in and make these global changes. And then finally, I might just come down here and put a adjustment layer. I might put a levels in here and just change the levels a little bit. That's quite nice. Okay. So once you're finished with these, then I suggest you grab all the layers and do a new group from layers and call it render final, and we can just output this now. So I'm going to save this Photoshop file, and I'm going to save it in the same folder, and I'll come down to JPEG here, and I'm going to save it in there with on the high setting and click save. Now I can exit out of Photoshop, and we've got our image there at high resolution. Let me just open this image up just to show you that it was at 4000, which is a pretty big size. We've got actual pixels. You can see the quality that you've got on that image as well. So really cool, really effective. Okay, as a bonus, I'm going to show you now how to do a turntable inside of KeyShot. So we can actually get this product and we can turn it around interactively. So this sort of thing you could put on your website to promote it or to show it off.